Belfast on the eve of the 1986 Circuit of Ireland Rally. And although the engines won't start roaring, the adrenaline won't start flowing until tomorrow morning, there's already a certain excitement in the air because the Circuit of Ireland is special to Belfast, bringing with it not just hard-earned cash, but also all the prestige of a major international sporting event. But of course the circuit is special throughout Ireland. It's often been estimated that the event attracts 1 million spectators during its 5-day run. I haven't counted them, but I'm prepared to believe it. Today is a day for examination and scrutineering of the cars and the last-minute preparation. All that is happening across the River Lagan at the Maysfield Leisure Centre.
Scrutiny is always a time of excitement because this is the first chance that the public get to look at the supercars and indeed the entry. The 1986 circuit may be a little low in numbers, but it's certainly high in quality. And of course, heading that list is Hanno Mikkola, possibly the most successful rally driver of all time. He was world champion in 1983, he's been British champion many times, and he's also won just about every major rally in the calendar, except the Monte Carlo Rally and the Circuit of Ireland. But as Billy Coleman says, Ireland is a peculiar place in rallying terms. It takes time to acclimatise to the circuit, and this will be Hanno's third attempt. Others in the top 10, however, have a better track record on these shores. At number 2, Jimmy McRae, 4 times winner, only one behind the all-time record of Paddy Hopkirk. At number 3, Russell Brooks, 3 times winner and a firm favourite in the Opel Manta. At number 5, Billy Coleman, and nobody underestimates Coleman, a 3 times winner. And don't forget that late entry, Kelly Gruntle in the Ford RS200, who comes to Ireland flushed with success from his 3rd place in the Swedish Rally, a World Championship qualifying event. Yes, it's Q for quality rather than quantity on the 1986 circuit.
It's very, very tough rally, you know. We have got more stage mileage than in the average World Championship rally, and the roads are bumpy and narrow lanes, you know, and in this kind of weather what we have got now, it's a lot of mud on the road also, and when you drive with racing tires, it's really it's a problem to get over those pieces without accident. So it will be very, very tough.
It's always been a favourite event of mine, and this year especially, it's a really, really tough rally, and I'd love to win it this year and make it four times winning.
How good an event do you rate the circuit in comparison to the others that you would do?
It's got some shortcomings in terms of paperwork and organisation of that type, but once you get out there on the stages, it's fantastic. It definitely is, I think, the toughest rally in the British Isles, and people like Kelly Gruntle are doing it say it's tougher than most World Championship rallies, so that gives you an indication of what the circuit is like.
I think this year, from the recce, the sting in the tail is from Waterford back, because you've more than a third of the rally to do, and the worst of the special stages through Monday night. That's going to be a very difficult period in the rally.
It's very important, mainly because it's one of the Open British Championship rounds, and of course it's the points is very important because you count 5 best results from the 6 rounds, so it's very important to finish.
How do you rate the Circuit of Ireland in that championship?
It's a very hard rally because it's such a long rally, and it's very, even to finish is very difficult, so you have to treat it a bit differently. You drive it only maybe 9 tenths.
Well, I've always said the Circuit of Ireland is one of the best rallies I have ever competed on, and I've done a good few around the world. I'm absolutely convinced of that. It's returning to its older format this year, in as far as it takes in a fair loop of the entire country, which I'm very pleased with, and I think it's going to be one of the toughest ones.
In the Circuit of Ireland, there are many competitions within the main competition, and of course a very important one is the Ladies' Prize. Louise Nolan, you're one of the 3 ladies' crews, I believe, in the event this year.
Yes, we've got 3 ladies' crews competing this year: Louise Aiken-Walker from Scotland and Breach Brophy from Galway, and myself. Indeed, it's my first time to do it, but the other 2 girls are very experienced.
Now you've got the RS Turbo. That's a Group N car, which is a fairly standard car.
Yes, it's a standard production car, and again the other girls are in much faster cars, so we'll be looking forward to a nice little battle.
Michael Sundstrom, you will be at number 6 in the Peugeot Talbot effort, but what we really want to know is this 2-wheel drive or 4-wheel drive?
This is a 2-wheel drive car, and the number is wrong. This is the right car. I think the rally will be won by a 4-wheel drive car. The route is very difficult, very bumpy stage and very long stage as well, but I think those four-wheel cars are very strong, and I think it will be a win for a four-wheel drive car.
Now, because of your recent unfortunate incident on the National Breakdown, the first round of the Shell Oils Championship, you're very much under team orders to keep it on the island, as the saying goes.
Yeah, that's always the thing to do, that try to keep the car on road. We had an accident in National Breakdown, but we tried to do it better this time.
But this is the circuit of the supercar, the signal that four-wheel drive has really arrived at the top echelons of rallying. Whether they are reliable enough to last the grueling pace of the circuit is another question, but the rally car has gone through a spectacular evolution since Paddy Hopkirk won this event in the front-wheel drive Mini. The next development was rear-wheel drive. Remember that the Escort twin cam and its derivatives had its first event and first win on the circuit in 1968 in the very capable hands of Roger Clark. The Porsches, Chevettes and Mantas have followed, but the big change came in 1981 when Audi produced the first of the new supercars, the four-wheel drive turbocharged Quattro. The Quattro, with its front engine, was a non-complicated introduction into four-wheel drive. They took the extra drive to the back wheels direct from the gearbox, giving power to all four corners. Since then, Peugeot with their 205 Turbo 16, Austin Rover with their 6R4, and Ford now with their RS200 have gone the four-wheel drive way with different systems and different load spreads. The Quattro has been on the circuit before, but that's the only four-wheel drive we've seen in action.
This is the nerve centre of it all. Press room, rally headquarters in the Forum Hotel in Belfast. And the watch will be kept here on the competitors as they make this true Circuit of Ireland, 1,534 miles, a grueling test of men and machines. And just to give you an idea, if you set off from here in your car, by the time you've clocked up that kind of mileage, you'd be in the south of Spain. Well, of that total, 605 miles are in 51 special stages, which in terms of the European Rally Championship makes the Circuit of Ireland the longest one of all. That's in terms of special stage miles. Now, the competitors, the crews, have had the chance to check over those 51 special stages at normal speeds, making what they call pace notes. Those pace notes will become vital when the rally starts in earnest tomorrow morning. Just think back to last year. This is how it was with Billy Coleman and Ronan Morgan.
And long quick right, 200. Quick left over bump, 1/2. Slight left, 300. Easy bump, 200 kink. Easy right over bumps, 300. Long mid left, tightens, 200. Mid left, 80. Repeat, mid left 80, turn hairpin right. .200 kink. Okay. Fast left 80, K right, bad bump, square left. .300 signpost. 50, fast right, 40. Long fast left, 100.
Now, the man who puts the whole Circuit of Ireland package together is the new clerk of the course, Bill Martin. Bill, what sort of organisation goes into an event like this?
Well, basically, this is the culmination of 13 months' work. We've in fact started planning this year's event before we ran last year's. I'm very lucky to have a sound team of 12 or 15 people around me as the organising committee. But we've overall some 1,500 marshals and officials operating on the event.
And all of them unpaid, acting as volunteers, simply for the fun of the sport?
Simply for the fun of the sport. They're getting no payment whatsoever for their task.
Now, marshals have a very vital role throughout the whole circuit, the 5 days of the event. More than ever before, our minds are concentrated on safety. What special precautions, if any, have you taken this year?
Well, we have tried to educate the public into the dangers of the sport, something that has been emphasised with recent events both in Galway and Portugal, and through the media and through posters and advice given out on the event. We're trying to educate the public to the dangers, and the best advice that we can give anyone is to obey the marshals. They're doing the job voluntarily, and they're not going out there to spoil fun. They're going out there purely to keep the event safe and keep the spectators safe.
Do you think the message is getting through?
Tomorrow will tell us. I sincerely hope so, but any members of the general public, the non-rally public that I've been speaking to recently, seem to be getting the message. They've commented on the coverage that it has been getting.
The spectators themselves are going to ruin the sport if they don't learn to stand in proper places and stay well clear of the cars, because these cars are getting quicker and quicker, and when things go wrong, they go wrong in a big way.
Definitely the most important thing is that when you have a long straight and you come to the junction and you say the road still carries on straight, but we have to turn, say, left, we want that next 50 yards at least to be free without any spectators, because if the brakes fails or something like that can happen, then we want to have escape road.
Don't rely on the driver and the car being 100%. The driver can make mistakes and the car can break down or have faulty brakes, as they've seen in the past.
The future of rallying is in the hands of spectators. We've seen the problems that have happened in 1986 on some rallies, and I hope that in 1986 on the Circuit of Ireland we can have a very safe event, and I think that particularly means spectators not standing in escape roads. It's most important, and the future of rallying is in spectators' hands.
Think about the car which is maybe going 100 miles an hour and suddenly losing its brakes, you know, where it will end up. It's always outside of the bend, and so be inside of the bend and don't stay after the jumps and this kind of places, because their driver maybe lose the control of the car, and you know the car doesn't stop in next 100 meters. It will go, I'm sure, to 250 meters, and so you have to be very careful, well off the road when we are coming.
The rally is enjoying unprecedented popularity, and it's one of the great sporting events on the calendar. We want to keep it that way, and I would earnestly ask all people that while we want them to enjoy themselves, for heaven's sake, listen to the marshals, stand well back from the cars and give the drivers a fair chance.
The drivers, of course, are the people who really know what's involved, and they are the ones who are most concerned about safety. Believe it or not, there are still some people who appear not to have got the message about that yet. For our part, we cannot emphasize this aspect of rallying enough. We had our own experiences last year on the rally, some of them highly dangerous, but none more graphically illustrative of the problem than the incident which befell one of our leading drivers, Bertie Fisher, in the recent Galway rally, an incident which led to his premature retirement from the sport and which was graphically captured by the in-car camera.
100 rest at the turn square right, Narrows.
The brake's gone completely.
The organisers' request on safety is simple. Obey the marshals, do not block escape roads, do not stand on the outside of bends, and think safety and influence others to think the same.
Yes, indeed. Let's hope it's not just the most exciting, but also the safest Circuit of Ireland for years. But have you ever thought about the contrast in this great rally game? The contrast between the big boys of the sport with their multi-million-pound works teams and the privateers, the guys who buy their own cars and enter them just for the fun of the game. Men like Kieran McAnallen, starting at number 32 in the entry list, who's with me now. Kieran, tell us a little bit about your car.
Well, the car is an Opel Manta 200, which we purchased from Ian Cathcart in May 1984. And it was then Group A, and we changed it to Group B specification up to 2 litre.
Now, you're one of the people we call privateers. You have your own backup team. Now, what exactly does that consist of?
Well, our backup team consists of us taking one of the vans out of our factory and rigging it out, putting all the spares and all into it the night before we go to the rally. And the service crew are made up of 4 men and 1 woman, including Rodney Burris, who looks after the car and prepares the car from one rally to the next.
Now, we see the works teams with great piles of tyres and spares all over the place at the various service halts. Well, what sort of numbers of tyres will you be taking with you?
Well, we have in total a number of 24 in total as regards tyres. That is for real dry roads, cold dry roads, wet and semi-wet. In the circuit it take about 3 sets of tyres to get us around it. Last year we done it in 3 sets where it was dry the whole road round. But you've got to carry the all variety of tyres for the various weather conditions that may arise.
Now, 3 sets of tyres you're talking about, how much would that cost?
Well, 3 sets of tyres you're talking roughly about £1,000 in cost. from we have put in our entry fee to right through to the end of the rally, without including for the rebuild of the car after what abuse it takes, we'll be talking somewhere in the region of about £5,000 in total.
Well, you're not a professional driver. This isn't your business. £5,000 is an awful lot of money for one event. So what do you get out of rallying?
Well, I do it for the sport of rallying, and I thoroughly enjoy doing rallying, but unfortunately it's getting to a stage where it's been so costly to do, and I have regret to say that the organisers aren't really worrying about the clubman any longer. They're more interested in the professional teams, and I'm one of the very few that probably is lucky that can still do the circuit this year, as the entry list will indicate to you.
How would you like a slice of Hannu Mikkola's budget?
Well, I would love to have the quarter of Hannu Mikkola's budget for doing it, because it would do me for the full year's rally and not only one event. What I spend on doing the rally, it probably wouldn't pay his hotel expenses.
From Ben Burb and Kieran McAnallen to the Audi Quattro of the #1 seed, the Finn, Hannu Mikkola. Let's hear from his team manager, David Sutton.
This is the longest, hardest event in the British Championship, so we try to make a bit of extra effort. We've got 10 mechanics here, senior engineer, even a motorhome crew to give the mechanics and the drivers a cup of coffee and a hamburger when we can.
How many people is that in total?
I think we're about 18 altogether.
Right. Now, how many weeks of work have gone into this car before it even arrives here?
We have spent something like 500 man-hours preparing the car for this event since its last event.
The other quantity, of course, is tyres. You must bring an enormous amount of tyres for this long rally.
Yes, we won't be actually using that many tyres. We'll probably be using something like about 60, but the reason we have to carry 200 is so that the driver has got a choice for whatever the conditions are. If we have snow, we have snow tyres. If we have rain, we have rain tyre. If we have a little bit of rain, we have an intermediate tyre. So the choice is quite large.
Well, the Michelin representative have told us that's equivalent to about £24,000 in tyres alone.
Yes, I would think that's pretty close, yeah.
In your preparation for the event, did you, in wrecking the event, did you have a support crew with you for that?
No, we were using just a normal Audi Quattro, so we don't need really mechanics with us. And here we had just time to go over the stage and check the notes, and you know, it's a strict speed limit, so we don't need special cars for doing the practice.
It's certainly the most expensive event in the championship, because it's also the longest as well. The special stage mileage alone is over 600, which is longer than on quite a few World Championship events.
Of course, Hannu isn't the only foreign driver in the field this year. In fact, the breakdown is like this. There are 24 crews from the UK mainland, there are 20 from Northern Ireland, and 16 from the Republic. Then after that, there are 4 from Finland, 2 from Norway, and 1 each from Sweden, from the Isle of Man, and from Qatar and the Gulf states. That's Saeed El Hajri, of course. As far as cars are concerned, well, there's just 1 escort in the rally this year, but there are 4 of the new Metro supercars. There's Mikkola's Quattro, of course, and the very fast T16 Peugeot of Michael Sundstrom. But for many fans, they'll only have eyes for 1 car, the RS200 from Ford, a supercar which marks Ford's comeback to the Circuit of Ireland rally. Could it really be 8 years ago that they last won this event?
Yes, 1978 was a year when Easter came early too, and weather conditions on the opening day were dreadful, to say the least. Then, as now, the Ford competition manager was Peter Ashcroft.
Well, it started rough for us. Russell went off on the first stage, as you probably know, and then Hannu went off on the 4th stage, and now I believe Hannu's in trouble already on the last stage. I believe he stopped in the stage somewhere, so the Circuit of Ireland rally for us this year looks to be starting pretty rough.
Russell Brooks was not first on the road, but he was fastest. He set a pace that was impossible to match. After a night of stages including Achavanna and Sally Gap, the cars crossed back into the north. Russell Brooks' escort was over 4 minutes up. The order didn't change dramatically, although Jimmy McRae's Chevette was running on only 3 cylinders.
Yes, Russell Brooks was the winner back in '78. This year, for the first time since, Ford have a real chance of success with the remarkable RS200, driven by Sweden's Kalle Grundle and Mark Lovell of England.
But what of the Irish challenge? At 5, of course, there's Billy Coleman, but that's not the only one by any manner of means, because at number 19, we've got Vincent Bonner, at number 20, Dan Daly, and then there's Robin Lyons, 24, 25, Frank Fennell, Stanley Orr, and of course John Lyons, albeit in a fairly standard motorcar. But there's one gentleman that we very definitely left out, and of course that is Austin McHale. Austin, you so nearly won this event a few years ago.
Yeah, actually we did. I think it's a well-known fact now that we went out of the engine problems. It's only like 15 stage miles from the end, but hopefully this year we have a brand new car. It's going very well. We tested it this morning, and it has been prepared by Michael Eve to his usual high degree of perfection. So we hope that we'll have no problems.
Does the presence of all these supercars intimidate you in any way?
Not really. In Ireland, I think that the stages are very rough. So we're after doing the pace notes. We find that they're very bumpy and that. And with four-wheel drive cars, I don't think that they particularly like to be landing on one wheel and 4 wheels driving. So hopefully the 2-wheel drive cars will be a little bit more reliable and might make the deciding factor in the end.
Well, any particular plans for the event? How are you going to pace it?
Said it's a brand new car, and I've only driven it for about 10 minutes this morning, and I've been taking it easy at the start. But we'll quicken up then, you know, after the first few stages, and we'll play it by ear.
And that's our preview. We hope you've enjoyed it. The Rothmans Circuit of Ireland 1986 gets underway in the morning. Now, last year, you may recall, it was McRae from Brooks from Fisher, an Opel Manta 123, with Billy Coleman in the Porsche back in 5th place. I wonder who'll be on the board beside me this year. Will it?
Billy Coleman attacks right from the word go as we take our first lightning trip inside the Porsche.
Bad right to crest. Repeat, bad right to crest. Bad right now. Bad left opens, 40. Sharp left, 60. Sharp right into bad left. Crest into square right. And sharp left. 70 over long crest, last hole, bad right.
That is Mikolas, stranded on the stage.
Last hole, bad right.
Saeed El Hajri in the second Rothmans Porsche is about to show us the same piece of road from his low-level camera, a first for rally television coverage. But back inside Coleman's car in stage 2, we come across a greater problem. Kalle Grundle's Ford is parked in a gateway. From above, we see that the driver is left with no choices. There are spectators in the road. Kalle approaches the bend. There are 2 boys in the road. One escapes, but the other is hit. Luckily, he only suffers chest and leg injuries. A terrifying incident in a morning which generally saw excellent behavior. The Metros lead, Jimmy McRae and Di Llewellyn after stage 1. Billy Coleman is now 3rd in the Rothmans Porsche. Harry Toivonen, 4th overall in the 6R4 Metro. And Russell Brooks, 5th in the Manta 400. Michael Sundström is 6th in the 205 Turbo 16. He takes it very gently here. To ascend even quicker than the descent. He will make up 6 places in these 9 miles to make him 19th overall. Cyril Bolton in the Clubman specification press part 6R4 is now in the top 10. Ahead of him, Vincent Bonner, 9th overall. Evidence of rally misfortunes of the past are everywhere, as John Price in 24th place in the Renault 5 Turbo is trying to make up places.
It's day one of the 1986 Rothmans Circuit of Ireland Rally, and a bit of a surprise at the top of the leaderboard. David Llewellyn there in the four-wheel drive Metro, the new Metro, is leading them in. And look at who's in second place, Jimmy McRae, who won it last year in the Opel Manta. He's in another four-wheel drive Metro, and he's number 2. And making it a 1-2-3 for the new four-wheel drive cars, the Peugeot driven by Michael Sundstrom. Yes, they've really come good in the first day of the 1986 circuit. Now, in 4th place, Billy Coleman, the leading Irishman. All the eyes of Cork are on him, and they'll be smiling tonight because Coleman is only a minute behind the leader Llewellyn. Just a minute between them. On down we go, Austin McHale in 6th place in his brand new Manta. A cracking drive from him on the opening day. And then down to 9th place, and the man from Dunlow and Donegal, Vincent Bonner, making it 3 Irishmen in the top 10. It's been a...
After the midi right angles of the RDS, we climb into real rally country. 2 stages whose names are whispered in awe when any tales of the Circuit of Ireland are told. Sally Gap and Auchtervanna. The fans had largely ignored the city centre entertainment, which had been laid on for them, and flocked in their customary thousands to the Dublin mountains. Nature had added snow to the intriguing equation. 27 miles of the best rallying country were now ahead. Jimmy McRae has a 21-second advantage over his Metro mate, David Llewellyn. Billy Coleman is only 41 seconds adrift of the supercars. Strangely, he is not particularly looking forward to the next 27 miles, as he doesn't think they will suit the Porsche. But let's go inside as we come up to Sally Gap.
Fast left, 70. Turn bad right. Between turn bad right to sharp left, 70 kink. Left 30, slow right 40. Repeat 40 kink. Sharp right to sharp left.
Brooks in 5th must attack. He's no stranger to this country. And Kelly Grundle has only 4 seconds in hand over the English driver. Not a comfortable position. Then comes Austin McHale. These are his 2 favourite stages in Ireland. Harry Toivonen in the Unipart Metro is 6th, but only 1 minute 29 seconds behind Russell Brooks. And there is great home support for Vincent Bonner in the Opel Ascona 400. 9th overall and loving every moment of it. Auchtervanna, Llewellyn is on the wrong tyres. Billy Coleman is driving beautifully, but he can't match the power of the Metros in the mountains. Brooks leaps the lightweight Manta, and he moves up to 4th place, at Kelly Grundle's expense in the Ford. McHale in his home country, and the crowds are out to cheer him on.
Jimmy McRae holds his lead as the Metro 6R4 splashes onto stage 19. Welshman Llewellyn tries hard, but still loses another 5 seconds to the Flying Scot. Coleman's control driving in the Rothmans Porsche is quicker than either of the Metros here. But Callie Grundle is the quickest of the lot. Stage 20, Portlaw. Cars are heading back to Waterford. Llewellyn is trying to dust off the opposition. Billy Coleman goes through, but the car is sounding rough. 3-time circuit winner Russell Brooks is having a trouble-free run in the Manta. But Coleman has a definite problem at the back of the Porsche.
Slow puncture on the right rear. Yeah. Long mid right. 300. Press 30. Quick right. 300. Yeah, 300. Right flat over press. 80. Slide right. 200. Press 1/2. Mid left tightens. Maybe wet. 30. Fast right opens. 300.
Vincent Bonner also has his hands full in the Opel Ascona 400.
2 completed, 3 more to go, and this is how the Rothmans Circuit of Ireland Rally 1986 looks after 20 of its 51 stages. Jimmy McRae and David Llewellyn, last night's top 2, still there, still in front. in the Metro 6R4s, and the little four-wheel drive cars, they're stretching their lead in this rally at the moment. McRae, going for his 5th circuit win, which would equal Paddy Hopkirk's record, is really stretching out in front and determined to do well and making the rest chase hard. Stage 24, Dunmoon, high in the hills above Villierstown in County Waterford, John Tracy country. This Circuit of Ireland rally, this marathon, has not yet run half its course. Could the sting yet be in the tail? Interestingly enough, on leaving Dungarvan, the service area there, Austin McHale, with a smile on his face, said, this rally's only just beginning.
Jimmy McRae probably wishes it was over, with him as winner, of course, but those clutch problems are getting worse. For David Llewellyn, it's a chance to snatch back the lead, and he's closing all the time. But in the battle for the top, there's a new leader. Llewellyn has overtaken McRae, but success seems to have made him a little twitchy. Russell Brooks hasn't put a wheel wrong so far, quietly moving up to second. McRae is back in third, and he's stuck in second gear.
And bad left, slow right over crest, 30. Bad left here, slow right over crest, 30. Sharp right opens, 100. Mid left, 100 kick.
There are problems ahead for Billy Coleman. This is what the spectators saw. Now the driver's view of the same incident.
Turn hairpin left, gravel. Repeat, turn hairpin left, gravel, 40. Easy left, 1/4.
But within seconds, Ronan Morgan and Billy Coleman are flying again.
Repeat, quick left, 300.
1.5 minutes, mainly due to a dud starter, which was ironically replaced yesterday. Vincent Bonner is a much happier man. As others fail, Vincent rises up the top 10. Also climbing are the more standard cars like Stanley Orr's Toyota. Billy Coleman's Porsche may not be pretty, but fortunately the effect of the crash is cosmetic rather than structural.
On the way then, on day 3 of the Roughman Circuit of Ireland Rally, 1986. And at the end of it, the lead firmly in the grasp of David Llewellyn in the Metro 6R4. But the troubles of Jimmy McRae on this day mean that Llewellyn's is the only Metro at the very top of the pile, and that has allowed Russell Brooks in the rather more conventional Opel Manta to force himself into second place. Let's take a look then at the leaderboard. This is how it looks tonight. Llewellyn in front, 4 minutes and 16 seconds to spare over Brooks. In third place, Billy Coleman. All's well that ends well for him. And then in fourth, and just a second behind, Jimmy McRae, last year's winner, battling to get right back into contention.
Agricola on the homeward run, with that enormous Group A lead. It was 8 minutes as they left Waterford. They have now moved ahead of the following Richard Hall, but only 19 seconds separate them. Coming round the mountain of Slieve-le-Mont, the leader. These right-angular bends suit the Manta. But there are reports that Billy Coleman has a misfire. But we can't detect it here. Jimmy McRae isn't making any great inroads on Llewellyn at the moment. But here's the story of the day so far. Mark Lovell is closing rapidly on Coleman, and the new Ford is hungry for 4th place. Another fast mover, the Unipart Metro. In the top 10, we still have 4 four-wheel drive cars. Sadly, at the end of this 13-mile trip round Slieve-le-Mont, we are missing Vincent Bonner. The engine has finally given up, and Davidson moves up to 8th.
Russell Brooks has been driving brilliantly throughout the day, holding second place in spite of a painful hip injury. His team manager is searching Galway for a physiotherapist. Coleman's car still bears the scars from yesterday's accident, but it's still going well. However, the final stage of the day is another of those hairy moments.
left, 200 over crest.
But once again, the Cork farmer comes out unscathed.
Remind you of the standings at the moment as we go into this final night of the circuit. Di Llewellyn still leads in his Metro 6R4. Russell Brooks is second. Jimmy McRae is in third place. Billy Coleman is in fourth. And then perhaps the joker in the pack in the brand new Ford RS200, Mark Lovell. Could he be the one to spring the surprise? Coleman's in fourth. Austin McHale is in seventh. Vincent Bonner is gone, but there are still 3 Irishmen in the top 10. Frank Fennell has squeezed in at the bottom of that top 10 list.
7:30 on day 5, the final day of the 1986 Rothmans Circuit of Ireland Rally. We're in Omagh. It's a damp day, but it's been a night of high drama. 2 of the top contenders are now out. We lost Billy Coleman and Jimmy McRae. The Rothmans Porsche, the Rothmans Metro on the same stage, stage 38. In the darkness, both of them hit a wall. Separate walls, but the result was the same. They're both out of the rally.
But there are still 4 stages to go. For Russell Brooks and Mike Broad, it's gently, gently to the finish. But for Austin McHale and Mark Lovell, these stages will decide third place. On Ora Lodge and Glen Dunn, the Dubliner responds magnificently to the challenge. Despite a missed gear change here, he has stemmed the avalanche of time. Mark Lovell continues to close, but not at the rate he had prior to Ballymoney. The Dubliner now is in with a real chance of retaining that third position from the flying Ford. At the Sala and Glen stages, David Llewellyn's dreams are beginning to look a reality. And Austin Rover are proving an enormous point about the quality of their product. After 24 hours on the road, is calling on his last reserves. Third would be a dream.
And the winning combination of man and machine duly arrived at the City Hall to be officially proclaimed #1 and enjoy the acclamation of the crowd.
David Llewellyn, very much the star of the show in an event that provided the worst that the weather could offer and some of the best too. Lovely sunny finish at the City Hall, and Llewellyn and Short there to claim their prize. Tough driving over 5 days. It took some of the best of the names in rallying out of the game. 4 hours.
Four-wheel drive cars on the entry list, and I knew that if any one of these cars finished without a problem, we had no chance of winning. So we set off with this in mind. The weather was totally in favour of four-wheel drive, and at about halfway point at Waterford, we were third place, 40 seconds behind the eventual winner of the rally. And I thought at that point we had an excellent chance of winning. So then the next thing that happened was the puncture, which is very disappointing for me. It was the second year, almost exact same point in the rally, we had a puncture which cost us 4 minutes. Now from that point on, I had no chance of victory, except by taking enormous risks. So I discussed it with the team management and said, look, what am I going to do? So they said, give it everything, and I did. And finally, when the accident happened, I'd had a few minor scuffles before the big one. So it wasn't unexpected, you know. So I think I was giving it everything, and it was just one of those things.
It was a marvellous performance by David Llewellyn, as we said. Overall, the Circuit of Ireland '86, were you happy with it from an organisational point of view?
I think it was excellent, and indeed there was a lot of media attention on the crowd control and that side of things. And I can honestly say that the marshalling was never better. And from a driver's point of view, it was there were more people out watching than ever before. But the marshalling was superb, and I think that incident where the youngster was knocked down was particularly unfortunate. But you know, these things will happen, and he was standing on the road, and thanks be to goodness the helicopter was there to take him to hospital quickly at least. So we all regret these things.
Well, now, Billy, you mentioned your own performance there around County Waterford, which was a stage where you looked like, as you said yourself, you might have been in with a chance. And certainly it was the second day over the Portlaw stages were marvellous and a tremendous performance by Billy Coleman. Now, we saw some spectacular pictures from inside the car. And Max, if you'd like to roll it there for us, perhaps we could see it from Billy Coleman's point of view. And perhaps you could describe to us, Billy, exactly what's going on in the car here.
Right. This, I think, is... We're just coming into the village in Portlaw, and we've turned... Yeah, right, OK. We're in second gear, going up through the gearbox. I see a lot of oil in the windscreen. We were pestered with this problem all weekend, particularly in the night stages. We could never find the source of the oil, but I think it's very visible there indeed. I'm in fourth gear here. Really quick bit of road, no margin for error. You hit a big wall if you make a mistake.
Sure. A lot of movement on the steering wheel, Billy, and slippy under the car.
That's right. Well, in fact, what happens here, at that sort of speed, the car becomes very light, and it's very vulnerable to any bit of a bump on the road or anything like that, particularly the Porsche, mind you, because it's got all the weight at the back end. One of the things I noticed this weekend, actually, was that I wasn't fit enough, and I can see from all the activity in the arms there, I can see why, how tiring it must be.
How fit exactly do you have to be to drive in a rally like that?
Probably not super fit, but fitter than I was this weekend, I think. So I'll have to work hard on that next year. I'm in fifth gear here, and I can just see the rev counter there at 7,500, which is about... We get into fifth gear about 110 miles an hour, and it'll go up to about 135, so that's fairly rapid motoring there through the crossroads. Fourth gear, I think, yeah, there we go into fifth. I'm trying to see the rev counter now. It's about 7,000, which is about 120 miles an hour. It's just a little bit hairy there.
What kind of things now would be going through your mind at this stage, on a stage? All kinds of things.
Very, very tense. Very, very tense.
Are you totally locked into the co-driver's calls to you?
Totally locked in, and you must trust him absolutely, or else you stay at home, because what you're aware of all the time is if I brake here now and I shouldn't, well, OK, Brooks isn't going to brake there, so he's up 2 seconds, so this is what you're fighting against all the time.
Presumably you've got to almost go with his calls before you actually see the bend or...
That's right, and at that sort of speed, he's calling... Yeah, it was a bit hairy there.
Slippy one there.
Yeah. He's calling 2 or 3 bends ahead all the time, yes, because I must know the line, I must know my braking. A couple of bends ahead at that speed.
And you can't afford to forget, of course, what he says either.
That's right.
Yes, a marvellous piece of footage there, Billy. Well, now, unfortunately, we saw you out of the rally a day or two after that, in the night time. We didn't see the outside of the car, but I don't think it'll polish out, Billy, I'm afraid, the damage to the Porsche. So what about the future of Billy Coleman?
Well, I think it's time to get me a new car anyway, so I made a good job of it, Michael. I hope it won't reappear.
If it's going to be a new car, is it going to be a Porsche or something else?
I honestly don't know, but I've been promised a competitive four-wheel drive car, which you've got to have now. I mean, it's Formula 1 rallying we're in now, and you're beating your head off a stone wall with anything less. So I'm sure that next time out we'll have something with at least 100 horsepower more and four-wheel drive.
I presume after the disappointment of the weekend, you're a little bit down. So when does Billy Coleman pick himself up again and decide, now, right, we're back into rallying and we're thinking about the future?
I think the only time I was down really was in the following 24 hours. I was a little bit sore. I had a sprained rib as well. But it's the first crash I've had in 8 years, and in a strange way I think it might even do me good, because I had become very fearful of an accident, which you cannot be in that game really. And I had a fairly heavy accident, and I discovered it's not really all that bad at all.
Yes.
So I think maybe I got something out of my system in a strange sort of way. And as I say, I hope I made a job of that car and they won't give it to me again.
Well, Billy Coleman, thank you very much indeed for the entertainment that you provided us with over the weekend. We look forward to seeing you in rallying, of course, over the next 12 months again, whatever the machinery may be. For the moment, Billy, thank you very much indeed.